Actual door size is the term. Actual door size is also known as net door size. What does it actually measure? What is the net door size? In the world of doors, whether it be commercial doors or residential, I think that there is a bit of a, not learning curve, but just becoming accustomed to how it is defined or at least understood. So doors are called out as their size, and there's different ways to call those out. 36 by 84, 3070, 3 by 7, 3 foot by the standard height. Give me a regular size door. Is it commercial or residential? If it's commercial, it's probably 3070. None of that really defines the actual door size, because the actual door size can be different. It's never the same. It depends on what hardware you've got installed. It depends on the manufacturer and the design of the door. The door can be beveled, or it can be square edge. Okay, it could have some sort of requirement that will dictate what a net size needs to be, and that can be affected by the design of the door or the hardware that you're using. Your net door size with a full mortise or concealed aluminum continuous geared hinge is different than the size of a door that's being hung on pivots or butts. The height also can be tailored by requirements. A typical undercut is this. Hollow metal door would probably be 3/4 inch. You could have, and you will see all the time, a requirement where there's a 1/2 inch undercut. Undercut is defined as the dimension from the bottom of the door to the bottom of the jamb, not to be confused with clearance, which is the dimension from the bottom of the door to the top of the sill. And that will affect the net door size, and in this case, the height. There are generalities. There are standards. In the commercial world, let's say it's either let's say it's a steel frame, a hollow metal frame, and it's a wood door. A wood door could be, if it's 3/0, a wood door, if it's square-edged versus beveled edge, is a different net size. And a square-edged door needs to be slightly pre-fit a little bit more than a door that's beveled. So actual door size is defined by SDI as the largest measured width by height of the door leaf as manufactured. The largest measured width by height. They're meaning the largest dimension when measuring it in the width and in its height of the door leaf as manufactured, equal to the nominal door size minus design clearance, also referred to as the net door size. So what that means is when you put a tape measure on it, what's the tape measure tell you? But you have to be careful. Doors are always measured from the pull side when they're beveled edge. If it's a square edge door, you can measure it from either side. I would adopt it as standard practice to always measure it on the pull side, because that will always give you the greatest dimension regardless. You're not going to be measuring it on the push side if it's a beveled edge door, because that will be the wrong dimension. Very often I'll get a client who sends me a size for a door, and it's 35 and 5/8. But it's a standard door. The door is 10 years old, rusted, needs to be replaced, the door and frame, or in this case, the door only. And the client says 35 and 5/8. That's a tip-off that they've measured on the push side of the door, or it is the fact that they're being sloppy about it, or a little lazy, not lazy, but not under the full realization that I need to know to the 16th or more accurately what that net door size is. So you'll measure it on the pull side, because that would give you the largest dimension. The actual door size is a term used to talk about specifically the net size, what the tape measure will tell you, versus the nominal door size. So it's helpful to understand actual door size as a definition when you compare it against how it's used in context. So when we say 3070, the door is not going to, or 36 by 84, the door is not going to measure any of that in a commercial sense. It can, but then it's not a 3070, because the size that you call it is the nominal size. The actual size is an affected result of the nominal size, meaning The actual size is dependent on the nominal size. And then, of course, the door design, what hardware might modify the net size. So the generalities in terms of actual door size are predicated on the nominal size and what you're dealing with. So a commercial hollow metal door 3070 or 36 by 84, if you put your tape measure on the inside of the jamb, from the bottom of the jamb to the underside of the header and then strike jamb to hinge jamb, that should be 36 by 84. You can't have a 36 by 84 door in that space the old saying is you can't put 10 pounds of sausage in a 10-pound bag. It won't fit. Both dimensions can't be overlapping each other. There has to be space. And when you're dealing with a door that has a thickness, there needs to be breathing room. And when you take out, as SDI says, minus the design clearance is the gap between the edge of the door and the jamb, and the edge of the door and the header, and the underside of the door and the bottom of the jamb. In the commercial world, a beveled edge door is generally going to be about 3/32 on either side, just less than 1/8 of an inch. The header from the underside of the head to the top of the door will be 1/8 of an inch. The bottom of the door will be 3/4 inch. That's a good, healthy generality. If it's a square edge door, you're going to have 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, and 1/8 of an inch, and 3/4 inch. Actual size versus nominal size in that setting, you've got a nominal 3 foot, 36 inch. You measure the frame, it'll be 36 inch. You deduct in a square edge door 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. Your door should measure on the pull side 35 3/4. If it's a standard door, standard, you toss onto it, obviously a concealed full, continuous geared aluminum hinge. Now you have to pre-fit that door even more, so the net size will change. If it's a wood door, architectural wood door hung in a hollow metal frame, same standards. If it's beveled edge, make it 3/16 less than the nominal size. So your nominal size is 36 inch, or better called 3/0. We like to use those terms 3/070 or 2080 because it tells us we're dealing in nominal sizes. But when you tell me inches or fractions in inches, now I'm thinking that you're conveying net size. If you needed a hollow metal door and frame and you said it was 36 by 84, I'm going to conclude that that's the nominal size. And your door is pre-fit. There's a net size or an actual size below that. But if it's a residential door, wood frame, you're very often going to find that they call it a 3068, 36 by 80. By our commercial definition, that frame should be 36 by 80. But wait, the door actually measures 36 inch wide. So that frame can't be 36 inch wide, and indeed it's going to be slightly larger, 36 1/4, something in that range. So while that's the standard in the residential industry, it doesn't really follow precisely our conventions of understanding of nominal size to actual size relationship. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you're not sure, if there's anything about the conversation that you have with the client that says, I'm not clear on what size you want, define the inside width and height of the frame in inches, and then define the net size of the door in width and height in inches. Those can't be the same. Depending on the door design, it will either be this, or if there's hardware that's in play, it will be modified by this. In this industry, everyone is always well served to dot the I's and cross the T's, meaning you've double checked it. But at the end of the day, like the locksmithing world, if you have a controlled cross-keying cylinder, you have a lobby door, and that lobby door is maison or cross-keyed. You've got 3 offices inside, and then you've got a front door. You either do or you don't need an independent key for that lobby. Let's say that you do, so that the cleaning crew can come in and just clean the lobby. But the 3 offices, their one key can pass the lobby and get into their office. Okay? The example of what I'm driving at here is, in that cross-keyed cylinder, specify clearly X1AA to be operated by 1AA, or 2AA, 3AA, 4AA, AA, meaning be very clear what you want to have there, even though in that scenario you don't have to define 1AA because it's already X1AA. The long version, I apologize for that, but the point of it was, if you're not sure, just spell it out, write it. And I will often indicate on a frame, I want a 5 3/4 jam depth with a 4 7/8 throat, meaning I want to eliminate any possibility that it won't be 4 7/8 because it's 5 3/4 jam depth or 5 7/8, but I need to define the other value because I want to be sure it's correct. You might have a client, you might have a scenario that's unusual, and the factory's going to want to know the jam depth, but what's more important to you is the throat opening of the frame for the wall condition. Define both. It's not problematic for you to be double clear. In my opinion, once you are painfully clear on establishing the nominal size and actual tape measure size, you've relieved yourself of the burden of not conveying precisely and elegantly what you expect. It's on the interpreter of your information, your purchase order, whatever it is. And as time goes, if I'm speaking to someone now who has less experience, you'll come to learn what the industry standards are and what to expect, but always be vigilant to question what that actual size is when someone's talking about a door in context of the design of the door and what hardware you're putting on it. And as I was told in many classes, look at the installation instructions, look at the template, and that will help dispel what it ought to be. So if you have any questions on actual door size versus nominal size or how that is arranged or arrived at, please feel free to reach out to me. Rich Howard. Thank you.